Hello, everybody. Today is March 4th. It's about a little after 3 Eastern Standard Time. And we got the Trump's joint session speech, State of the Union address tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I'll be following all the threads out on that, having that on, and so forth. So, you know what? There's a lot going on, so I thought I'd just start the video with going through a few things I found on my X feed. All right. So let's start here. So this was an interesting thing, and this is why Thomas Massie was the only one who voted against the House budget. 24% mistakenly believe the House budget resolution cuts spending in 2026. Here's the reality. Federal spending, $5.5 trillion. Fiscal year 2025 ending this October. 2026 House budget, $5.6 trillion. That isn't cutting, that's growing. We need not slowing down the growth of these government agencies, programs, and garbage, and doing Doge cuts. We literally have to spend less across the board. And we're going to be given a great opportunity if we follow through on it. I'll show it later in the video. So I thought that was it. Of course, Thomas Massie reposted that. Or a couple other things here. So this was something on the economy that was good, just, and I'll get to it in a little bit because there's a big piece out. Antony just posted this. This is the growth of money market funds. I've been surging over the last 2 years, growing by about $2.5 trillion. It's because of the higher interest rates that they're getting now. They're getting 4.5%, So, what's the other one? Now let's get to the big one. This is some chaos in Serbian parliament. Okay, so there's a lot going on. If you don't know, there was a big arrest of an opposition leader and everything going on. But Serbia's a little mess right now with smoke grenades and tear gas from the country's political opposition. Disrupts Serbian parliament in an attempt to protest against government policy. All right. These are the no votes. Just Democrats. This was on the men's and women's sports ban. They all voted no. Every single Democrat. We know that. All right. But as we scroll up, AOC, she will not be going to the meeting tonight. Not missing that much there. But all right, let's really start with...
The United States launched a trade war against Canada. Their closest partner and ally, their closest friend. At the same time, they're talking about working positively with Russia, appeasing Vladimir Putin, a lying, murderous dictator. Make that make sense.
So, here we go. The tariffs. He went through with them. Canada's already went into effect with their tariffs and so forth. But look what he does. He goes through it long frame. Well, why is it? We have a budget deficit. A trade deficit with Canada. But yet we export more goods. So you go figure that out. Okay, so they are more reliant than we are on their products. They protect their industries. We do not. They spend less than 2% on their GDP on military defense. We spend 4%. They have free health care because of that. We do not. They are left-wing lunatics. They do not have freedom of speech. They roll out former Nazis, literal Nazis who served in the SS onto their parliament and clap them. And he makes claims that Putin is a dictator. Now let's look at that very much. Zelensky canceled elections in May. I believe it was May 20th. He was supposed to have an election. His term expired. No, it was May 23rd. That's what it was. 2024, his term expired because he canceled elections. He opposed, he had, before the special military operation, banned most political parties, after, banned them all. state media censorship and complete control. He's gone after the Ukrainian Orthodox Church. He's locked up dozens of journalists, including killing one in a Ukrainian prison, okay, or at least letting him die in a Ukrainian prison, an American citizen journalist who was living in Kharkov. Okay? That is that. Unelected leader. Putin was just elected. Oh, it's a rigged election. Show me evidence. I've been told that for years, and I was dumb enough 15, 20 years ago to believe that. As a matter of fact, Putin left office, okay, because he was only allowed to serve a certain amount of terms. Medvedev took over for 4 years because of that. The Duma and Medvedev redid the constitution, allowing for Putin to come back. They have multiple political parties, and I've seen zero evidence of any complaints on during their elections. I do know they're a homogenized society, very much so. The loyalty that the people have, where you even had one of the leaders of the Muslim community recently meet with Putin and give him, like, you know, some Muslim show sword and all that stuff. Okay. And then, okay, you have the Kirimov, the leader of Chechnya, also fighting on the front for the Russian Federation, a province that was at war 20 years ago with the Russian Federation. They have multiple political parties. They just say these things, and people believe them. They never present evidence. So you go, oh, yeah. The problem is, as I've explained before, Russia gets in the way of all these things. As a matter of fact, the only evidence that I have ever seen, and that's scouring social media in Ukraine, in Russia, independent media, not just the corporate bullshit media here in the United States, I have seen crazy crap in the Ukraine. From Azov thugs beating up people in the street, yanking people in the street for conscription, which is what J.D. Vance was talking about in the Oval Office last Friday. It's the contradiction ridiculous. And coming from Justin Trudeau, who seized bank accounts because people didn't want to take an experimental gene vaccine and were protesting another Democratic right that he suppressed. They go after journalists like Rebel News all the time. They control CBC. Is government controlled. And they go after them and they suppress speech, just like what's going on in the United Kingdom. So don't even give that. Canada, outside of the Québécois, French Canadians, okay, west of that, Ontario, was founded by British loyalists who left the United States. That is their role. We were allies in World War II. They fought in Afghanistan, Iraq, etc. I get that. But there are huge separating things. The only thing we do is we share a border and a common language, which is a lot. But we have diverged in many aspects. They're more in line. I mean, some people say, oh, Canada, the 50th. I don't want them as the 51st state. I have a great idea. Give them California and New England. And then we'll be good. Because they're more in line with people from Massachusetts and Rhode Island, you know, and the west coast of California. Boom. There you go. Anyway, I digress. So, that's it. You can buy American milk. You can buy American cheese. You can buy cars made in America. Mine are. You can buy lots of products without buying that. As a matter of fact, canola oil comes from the word Canada. It's called like grapes. It's actually like grapeseed oil. It's horrible for you. But we put it comes from Canada. That's why it's canola oil. All right? Don't use that anymore. I mean, there are a lot of things you can do. This is not. We're saying we're going to tariff you and protect our industries. Okay? And any American manufacturer who doesn't want a tariff can come back. It won't happen tomorrow, but they can come back. And they would avoid the tariffs. That's it. You either believe in the free market and you actually let them compete across borders, or you don't. So, moving on, a little domestic politics here, because I did bring it up. This is the Jeffrey Epstein files and Laura Loomer's been, on a rampage about this. But Pam Bondi has officially spent more time on Fox News doing interviews than doing her job as AG. Does anyone have a single photo of this truckload of Epstein documents? You'd think there would be photos of this alleged truck full of documents. I haven't seen it. You'd think they'd show us some evidence. What do I think's going on here? I think what's going on is she went on, Jesse Waters, meaning Pam Bondi. She thought the goods was going to be there. She didn't verify the goods were going to be there. And she was stuck and had to release them. And it turned out to be a nothing burger. Now the question is, does the SDNY still have stuff? So Pam, if that's the case, needs to go and fix that problem. I know that the guy resigned out of the SDNY, was forced to resign related to this. But it is her job, if they're not being compliant to her, to go get that documents and then release it like you promised to. So either she's lying or she's completely screwed up. I think it's the latter. I think she went, oops, I didn't think this through, and now she's got to fix it. Otherwise, she didn't start out her term as AG good. And with everything going on in the Department of Justice, we can't have that. So she's either got to make it right soon, or she needs to resign. Because you cannot have that when you can't embarrass the president like that, in my opinion. Especially he just started. You were just approved a couple weeks ago. Okay? And you got to fix it. Whatever the problem is, but we don't 100% know yet because she has said multiple things, so I don't know what's true or not. I personally believe she was hoodwinked, I think, and she jumped the gun, and she looks like a dope. Okay? So I just wanted to go and comment on what's going on with that. If they're there, they need to get it out. End of story. And then she can be vindicated. So I want to move on to this. So new orders for durable goods rose 3.1% in January, accounting for nearly all of the 3.4% annual increase. But half of this year-over-year figure was just inflation. So December 2024 revised $277.3 billion, down 1.8%. Notice it's revised, these government revisions again. And January 2025, $286 billion, 3.1%. But if you look at the chart, the month-to-month chart over the last 2 years, down in December, big up, right, year before. And then, as you see, these two are down, and then this one's up. So that goes into my next slide. This is durable goods, real and nominal, since 2021, January 2021. Now they kind of look similar a little bit, but real orders are down over 4 years. Seasonally adjusted, nominal, yes, they're up, but not. Now what is this about? Okay. What's this about is what I've been arguing. It's why the stock market's up. It's why a lot of houses is up. Is that we're not seeing growth in our economy. We're seeing the cost of the units that we're talking about going up in terms of U.S. dollars. Right? I'm selling 100 widgets last year for $1,000. I made $100,000. The year after that, I sold it for, $110. I didn't make that $10 amount. I sold the same amount of widgets. So the demand is not going up. It's the cost of the goods and services. So you look at, look at the number value, it's going up. No, it's because the purchasing power of the dollar is against, this is going down. And the only saving grace is that due to our Eurodollar system and other fiat currencies, we're strong compared to a lot of other nations because of our stature in the world and the Eurodollar system and the dollar was the prime reserve currency, etc., etc. Okay? But that's not good, especially when your population is increasing naturally. Now throw in 20 million illegals in there as well. Per person, it's shrinking. So our real economy is not growing at all. And shrinking. Okay? So there you have it. So this is a chart that is true. It's that it's not up. It's not up. And it's those things, the price parity, that reflects and relates to the average citizens of one's nation. Okay, and that means your citizens are not benefiting, and therefore your economy is really in a decline. The only one thing that happened is because of this, existing assets, whether it be equities, other financial instruments, real estate, real property, things like that, whoosh, have gone up, including precious metals, gold, have gone up. So the people who have already accumulated lots of wealth have seen that wealth in terms of dollars really explode. While people who are either in the process of it or just starting to or haven't had a chance to yet, they've seen their ability to try to accumulate that wealth shrink. They've also seen their debt go up because a lot of people are gapping it, like on credit cards now, because those things are even further and further out of reach. Throw in higher interest rates, etc. This is this globalist society. And this is what Trump is trying to do with the tariffs. We're going to bring people back. Our only options should not be working in a fast food restaurant or burying yourself in amounts of huge debt to go to school and go work for. And most of these jobs you can get, a company can train you. You shouldn't need to go to college for half these jobs. They don't learn anything in college. Zero. Zilch. Everything I learned about economics was working in finance, taking some courses that weren't college related, okay, lived experiences, etc., and self-research, okay. My first job, okay, in finance, I was trained on this stuff. It's like, throw it all out. This is how it works. It's amazing, you know. So if you're gonna just get that job, so why don't we give people that offer factory jobs, even if AI and robotics are replacing some of these jobs, that you need people to repair those robotics and repair those, work on those AI systems. Okay? We're going to have these insane data centers going up because of this AI technology, but it's also good for national security and other things to have great production here in the United States. If you have the means, do it. We have agricultural means, we have energy means, and we have manufacturing means. Do all three. Everything else is gravy. So, moving on to the big issue here. So now when we preface this, and going back to what I was saying about Trudeau and Canada and what they spend on their GDP and how we're spending so much, NATO defense spending by country 2024. This is on a percentage scale, okay? I'm going to raise it up. I don't know the exact numbers, but it's about 66%. Now, for those people who don't know, this isn't for the NATO administration as an organization. What makes up NATO is the individual nation's military. We spend 66 to 70% of the total military expenditures. We spend now close to $900 billion, close to $1 trillion. Okay, and then if you throw in other things, it's probably more than that. United Kingdom spends like 80 billion, France 80 billion, Germany 90 billion. Okay, that covers your basic, you're running your bases, your administration, your finance corps, all the stuff before you even put a soldier into a combat unit. Okay, these countries couldn't compete with with any of these countries. I'm very surprised that Turkey, I guess, is on in there. But Turkey has one of the largest militaries, at least in terms of manpower, in NATO, I think, next to the United States. So, now, looking at that, okay, and you add it all up, they're about 400 billion, 300 to 400 billion. So we'll say, just to make it easy, half. Okay, we'll say a third to half that they are combined with the United States spends. Okay? And remember, Europe, population-wise and GDP-wise, is on par with the United States. So, all right, who's this? This is Ursula von der Leyen. By the way, the unelected head of the European Commission. Okay, remember, for democracy now. Unelected head of the European High Commission. Just keep that in mind. The president of the European Commission announced this morning a €800 euro billion plan to rearm Europe with an additional 150 billion euros in loans for European defense investments, stating, "We are in an era of rearmament. Europe is ready to assume its responsibilities. This is a moment for Europe and we are ready to step up." Let's go. Let's go. How many military bases does the United States have in England, Germany, Ramstein, naval bases, forces? It's us that's protecting European shipping in the Red Sea, going to Europe. Okay, that's not supplies going to the United States. What, Britain has a frigate for about a month, has to go resupply. France might have one, has to go supply after a month. It's us. Sustained power to control their shipping. Hello? You get the free health care, you got the big pensions, you got the 35-hour work week, you got that. What do we have in the United States, as the Italians in New York would say, un cazzo. Here's the deal. Go. And let's not spend $900 billion. Let's kick it down to $600 billion, consolidate, reorganize what we need, focus on our hemisphere, and let Europe handle their own security structure. This is a great out. This is a great out. Okay? Europe doesn't have anything. We don't need really anything from Europe. What do we need from Europe for? They have very similar landscapes, similar topography, similar climates, because the jet stream goes up there, right? Their south is warm. Italy and Spain, it's like Florida and Texas. They got agriculture, they got minerals. We got agriculture, we got minerals. What, different types of grapes for wine? Types of cheese? Okay, let them go. Let us compete, trade the things we want that we don't have, and vice versa. But let them take care of their own security. We are pushing on $37 trillion in debt. I just went through the inflation numbers due to that. Okay. They need our energy because those morons shut down their own energy. And Trump's going to bring up the mineral deal tonight. Okay. Which is absurd. Okay. I'm going to pop to that in a second here. Let's actually pop to that right now, if I didn't show you. So he's going to announce I have brought this up on my what do you call it? On my what do you call it? Previous videos, but it's a wrong button. It's but it's key. This is the minerals in Ukraine. 34% of rare earths are under Russian control. They are pushing all along the line, particularly in Donetsk, Lugansk, and Kharkiv. That number will keep going up. And not for nothing, you're not going to build and start mining while there are FPV drones and Iskander missiles flying over your head. So even if the parts in Ukraine are there, you're not going to get to them. So the U.S. would have access to, 30, 40% tops? And are those the ones we even need? Okay? So I don't get it. Because I don't think there's going to be... And then you have the United Kingdom announcing, Starmer goes up there and he announces, we're going to give a loan. Wow. I'm going to give a loan to Ukraine so they can purchase, made in Belfast, 500 air defense missiles, anti-air defense, missiles. Okay? I don't know what systems they're for exactly, but that's what they're going to do. Okay? And they're going to be, I guess, collateralized with the profits of seized Russian assets. See, they can't take the money. They want to really, really bad, but they can take the interest earned on it. And that's what they're going to use to pay the loan. Okay? That's what they announced today. So they're playing, tough, I guess. I don't know. But, yeah, so just wanted to go into that for a little bit. So, speaking of Putin, this is in Bloomberg. Putin agrees to help Trump broker nuclear talks with Iran. Okay? What's going there? I don't think... I've been hearing for 25 years that Iran's 6 months away from a nuclear weapon. Are they? Do they have technology? I know they have good missile technology. They working in conjunction with the Russians a lot, China, the anti-American coalition, we'll call it, anti-collective West coalition, BRICS nations. So it's very possible that he's going to do that and come up with a deal. And why not? Why not? They have relationships with them. They trust the Russians more. Okay. So I think that's a good positive development. Now, a little Ukraine update here. So this is some footage.
After the retreat of Russian troops from Lyman in the fall.
So the first one, that was some footage recently, the last couple of days, from Kursk. 2 armored personnel carriers taken out, whatever. And you see how open it is? That's how it is in most of these battlefields. I mean, small little plateaus and patches of forest are your friends. Okay? But, yeah, that's going. Russia's continuing to squeeze that Kursk pocket. And in the Sumy region, which is on the Ukrainian side that borders Kursk, Russia took this village, Vyachnaya, I believe I pronounced it correctly, and I'll show you the new map of that. But I wanted to go back and to show you this because I thought this one was very interesting. Oh, man.
After the retreat of Russian troops from Lyman in the fall of 2022, the issue of restoring control over the northern part of the DPR has become acute. This is necessary to restore the territorial value of the Russian region
2022,
temporarily occupied by the AFU.
When Russia went, we know what happened. And that's where it is today, that huge thing.
For which there is
now,
heavy fighting.
This guy goes through
it. The Russian troops made attempts to break
happened in the last 2 years in this
Torsky.
whole area. And I'll speed it up. June 24. That's August 2nd. September 2024. October 2024. December 2nd. January of this year. Further west, even more. And this is basically the territory, and then the nearby towns, the big one being Lyman. Yeah. So this is that video of Vyachnaya that I told you about, that they took control in the Sumy region. And then in northern Donetsk, they've taken Avdiivka, which is just north of the Pokrovsk-Kostanovka highway. So that's a key point. They've been working on that city for a while. So the Russians had taken that. So I showed you that first video with the footage in Kursk. And the second video was... that was that area in northern Donetsk. Okay, and when I want to show you that area, it showed you where, and that's Lyman and Sloviansk are the last big places in that area. And after they take that, that means that oblast is completely taken. But they withdrew back to these lines when they went, the peace treaty failed, what Russia tried to achieve in the peace deal with getting Ukraine neutrality, demilitarization, all that fell apart. So Russia did not have the forces for it, so it withdrew. Ukraine was able to fill the vacuum, come in. We were told, great victories. It's not. It was Russia withdrawing. But that showed, now they struggled, but it took them a while. They were still building up their military, and they made several attempts in that area to go through. But really starting after this summer, and everything really started with Bakhmut going back over a year. They started to just grind and grind. They finally got footloads across the river, across the lake, and everything like that, in those reservoirs. And they moved it. But I want to show you the map just over the last 6 months. More and more red going west in that northern Donetsk area. And southern Donetsk, they're doing the same thing, like I showed you taking that video, and then the highway. And then real southern Donetsk, even more than that, they're pushing past west towards Pokrovsk, meeting that next oblast, even more inland towards Ukraine. But the point of the matter is people say there's a stalemate. It's not a stalemate. They're moving all across the line. They've also launched an offensive in the Kupiansk area up in Kharkiv region, north of Lugansk, which is north of Donetsk. And they gradually are moving over there. They cross the Oskol River, doing the same type of things they did in that video I showed you up in the Kharkiv River. And that started in about October and November, December, January. They're making the same advances there, taking advantage of tree lines. When there's a Ukrainian fortification, completely obliterating it with drones, artillery, airstrikes, missile strikes. Okay, and then moving in the infantry very slowly, cautiously in small units. They regroup on the other side, and that's how it's going. Okay, Ukraine always has the ability to withdraw where they are or surrender if they want, but they always have it because they use cauldrons around. But that's what's going on in the southern Donetsk section, the northern Donetsk section, up in Kupiansk, and the Kharkiv region. This war is not a stalemate. It's in the cards. There will be no ceasefire because Russia doesn't want Ukraine to rearm. And Ukraine probably doesn't want it. They want Russia to reorganize and maybe refocus. But the attrition is on their side. Okay, they still have NCOs. They still have experienced people. They're not conscripting people off the streets. They're doing full training. They have the industrial manufacturing capability, the technological advantage. Okay, and they're not going to give up any territory. They're going to want their security guaranteed by a neutral Ukraine. And if that means going west, going west. Would they like the war to end? I believe strongly they will. That's going to be the deal. The territory's there. So I don't know what, the U.S. is going to get out of this mineral deal except drag us in. Well, I don't want to be dragged into this. What the hell do I want to have anything to do with the battle of that? I don't even want us to have anything to do with Ukraine. Leave the Ukrainian people alone. Don't put missiles there. Don't talk about them joining NATO, and Russia will be fine. Okay? And now that the Russian-speaking territories are pretty much under Russian control, as you go further west, it's more and more Ukrainian. All right? So I just wanted to show you that video in just one section. It was long, so that's why I kind of sped through it a little quickly. But I wanted to see how the map. That's just one section have happened just in the last 4 to 5 months. It's not a stalemate. The cards are in Russia's hands. So any deal tonight, mineral deal, I think is useless because more of those minerals are going to fall under Russian control. And also, it risks sucking us in and putting this on Trump somehow. We have an opportunity to leave this. Okay, Russia. Look how good they're not going to go west of the Dnieper. They don't want to govern Ukrainians. They don't want, just like their missiles in Romania, American missiles sitting in, right near the Dnieper River, 5 miles from Moscow. And they didn't want a government that was oppressive to the Russian minority. If they would have wanted that territory, they would have taken it in 2014 when the Ukrainian army lost to the LPR and DPR militias after they declared independence. It's what led to the Minsk Accords. They didn't take it. Okay? But there you have it. So I just want to wrap up and talk about, give you a good example of what the battlefield is like. And also, some updates on politics. And I hope this goes well. Okay? The speech tonight, I think Trump should hammer on every issue, every accomplishment. Okay? I really wish he did better on the Republicans do better on the budget, but it is what it is. So I'll be following everything tonight. Maybe put out a tweet or two, reply or two, if anything, especially if something jumps out or unexpected. But I just keep an eye on what's going on in the Ukraine war, how the Russians respond, because everybody's talking what peace treaty. No one's listening to what the Russians are saying. It's amazing me. He had supported his peace plan, putting Europeans as peacekeepers. Where Russians are not going to allow that. Therefore, it's pointless to even talk about. Okay? Yes, we're going to let the British patrol our eastern border, who just sent Storm Shadow missiles, gave them intelligence and training, and to shoot inside Russia hubs that hit civilian targets. That's exactly what the Russians are going to agree to. These people, they think they still write and manipulate the world in their elitist liking. They don't. The British Empire is gone. Okay? It's really unbelievable. So, with that being said, yeah. So, sorry, I just got to harp on this because it's just absurd to me. And we have a great opportunity to free up, cut our deficit from 2 trillion to 1.5 trillion between Doge and just getting out of NATO and consolidating and refocusing our entire military as well. And get other countries too. You worry about Asia? We could sell weapons to Australia and Japan, and they can come up with their own security structure over there. And you have counterbalances. See, that's how it works. But so anyway, if you like this, you can follow me on my X, which is at Patriot Planner 1, and my Getter at Patriot Planner. And if you like this video, which I hope you did, because I enjoyed making it, feel free to follow, like, and share. All right, have a great day, guys, and I'll see you guys at the end of the week.